Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to another Jesus Gaming and Podcast episode. This is Jesus, and I do want to apologize because last week I was practically away from keyboard AFK. As unfortunately, this is my second time in my life that I ever had the Rona. I don't want to mention the certain pandemic just to avoid any problems with social media platforms, and that is why we didn't go live last week. Uh, Live. I didn't mean to say live. Just record the episode. Pretty much my whole family landed the positive with the Rona, so we have a second dance with the Rona because this is actually not the first time for me. Back in 2022, by spring was my first dance with the brand new disease that the world met. So basically, we had to make all the precautions, and pretty much I needed to rest because, in comparison with the first time, I think that this time it kicked my arse a little bit more than the first time. So I think this was a worthy rematch for the disease coming back for another struggle with me. And basically, so what we are going to do today, today we're gonna have a triple threat episode. There was a lot of things to talk about last week, and thanks to the Rona, we didn't manage to actually have to talk about it. So let's talk about Fortnite. Let's talk about the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, my take on it, my unsolicited take on it, and of course, my reaction to, at least I want to talk about my top three categories of the Game Awards that went on last week, on last Thursday, December 7th. And I'm going to focus on the action category, the RPG category, and the Game of the Year award for, obviously, the Game Awards. So buckle up and thank you so much for your support. Remember to like, hit the subscribe button. Health and success. Here we go. Now, before starting over with Fortnite and everything that has been announced and already launched, I got a confession to make. And as a gamer, I always try to make some points. And of course, for those who doesn't know me, I'm not a centennial generation. I'm a millennial from the Gen Y. So I managed to be in between the classical video game industry and how the internet took over within the gaming industry. So for me, it's normal to say that Battle Royales is a neutral topic to me in regards of how the gaming industry state is currently is. And for me, Fortnite is a bad example on how the direction the gaming industry is going at all. And with that being said, I'm not a big fan of Fortnite. Never was. And I did try the game when the game launches on PlayStation 4 a few years ago. Never tried the game afterwards. And to be honest, you might see my YouTube channel that I did land on the OG maps just to say that I did play the game. But honestly, I don't know. Unfortunately, me trying to be a content creator for gaming, and I'm doing Fortnite has to be on the map, and I cannot ignore big events like there was the OG event and the Big Bang event. So this past December 2, Epic Games ran the Big Bang full event where practically the future or the short-term future of Fortnite was confirmed and everything was said and done. Epic Games has been known for having this kind of almost like a Super Bowl, WrestleMania kind of things with Fortnite, especially when there's a transition on events or in lore portion of the games, or the Fortnite is going for another chapter in the story, or big activities going on. So the Big Bang was nothing different, and I kind of have to agree that maybe this is the best event that we haven't seen recently for anything related to Fortnite. So, with that being said, we got the event, and pretty much we had to say goodbye once again to the OG map like we did a few years ago. But Epic Games confirmed that the OG map will emerge again next year in 2024. With that being said, we got two new collaborations. We got the Lego Fortnite and the Rocket Racing collaboration, which pretty much the Lego Fortnite is basically Lego collaboration with Fortnite, or Rocket Racing, of course, and the Fortnite Festival. As for the Lego Fortnite, we are going to have mini galaxies in a universe of Fortnite experience, obviously in the scale of the world of Lego. Imagine Minecraft with guns and making construct and building your fort to obviously defend yourself against other players and everything like that. So that's pretty much how to describe the Lego Fortnite experience, which by the recording of this, obviously the community of Fortnite has been enjoying it pretty well. I don't think I'm gonna be joining the bandwagon, but as long as I see positivism and people happy playing their favorite video games, then I'm happy. So it will be a success, obviously. Lego, everything Lego, gaming, Fortnite joining together, the fusion, Lego Fortnite experience, of course, is gonna be a success. Of course, we got the Epic Game and Psyonix collaboration with Rocket Racing, where Fortnite players will be in an arcade driving experience. Of course, this will be done more from the Psyonix side, obviously, for the mechanics of having you drift and flip upside down in futuristic looking tunnels while you're driving your Fortnite characters. Finally, we got the Harmonix Fortnite Festival, which will feature big names of music stars and rhythm-based gameplay resonance from the developer's own rock band heritage. Many were caught on surprise as the whole experience felt like an old-school Fortnite event, and pretty much how Facebook parent company now called Meta felt doing a metaverse was the way for the future of the internet. And I do believe that Fortnite really made Mark Zuckerberg thought on that, and there goes another highlight for Fortnite and for gaming, of course. But the big surprise, and pretty much, well, it wasn't really a surprise because there were already some leaks, but Eminem, the rapper Eminem, pretty much make an appearance as an in-person game. And of course, his appearance was to serve as a preview for a concert that might be taking on inside the game. And once again, the concept of the metaverse, where you're joining in a true event that is a virtual, but you're still joining in an event, and your Fortnite character is your virtual you, so to speak. So there goes another big event alongside with Eminem music and Fortnite. DLC speaking, we got Peter Griffin from Family Guy being the newest character, and not the typical as being a big fat guy. Actually, he's looking rip off during this game or during his turn in Fortnite, and it is interesting how Epic Games took one particular detail on when you got your opponent using Peter Griffin knocked out. He's not crawling like asking for you to revive him. It's that particular leg pain that he goes like. I was cracking up. The first time I saw that, I was just cracking up because it brought some memories. Like it's been years since I saw that episode about Peter tripping off, and that became kind of a trademark for Peter Griffin and the Family Guy. But yeah, finally it was confirmed that Solid Snake will also make a surprising appearance, and Solid Snake is not strange on being a guest on other games like Dance Dance Revolution from the same company, Konami, and Super Smash Brawl and Super Smash Ultimate, where he also appears as a guest. So it was just a matter of time where first-person shooter or a battle royale first-person shooter or battle royale shooter, whatever you want to call it, will count Solid Snake as part of the roster. Another big topic these past 2 weeks in the gaming industry is, of course, Rockstar Games finally presenting the long-awaited first trailer of Grand Theft Auto 6, which premiered on December 4, 2023, officially. But the night prior that, there were some rumors that a certain child of a Rockstar Games developer decided to have some self-entitlement to do some cloud on his TikTok account and tried to, or actually did leak the presentation, much to the horror of both Rockstar Game and parent company Take-Two Interactive. But as of the recording of this and counting the click that I did so I can have the updated number as the recording of this, as I said, the preview or trailer 1 has already 121,924,108 views. So it's still on December 7th, where I am recording this podcast. It's still number 3 on trending on YouTube because people can just get enough of just a minute and a half of what could be the final product of Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, keep in mind, I know that by the time you are hearing this podcast, the trailer has been seen from left or right, from up and down, from A to C, whatever. The game is slated for a 2025 release, so this is definitely not the final product. We already been hearing that the game is still well on development, and evidently that there's so much time for improvement, especially if Rockstar Games feels like they're still taking their time, and they shouldn't rush the game. They shouldn't follow what social media said. The game needs to be released when it is the proper time to be released. From the early details and pretty much confirmed, we got a dual protagonist, which is our first time for the Grand Theft Auto game. We got a first female Latina protagonist named Lucia and her husband, significant other, or boyfriend Jacob. And I think that the players, or reportedly the players, could be choosing either one of them, like it was in the case of Grand Theft Auto 5, where you got to choose multiple protagonists or main players to do your missions. And we are on a nowadays or current days Vice City. Remember that Vice City on Grand Theft Auto landed originally on the PlayStation 2 as Grand Theft Auto Vice City, where people thought that Vice City was actually Grand Theft Auto 4, which wasn't the case. It was just Grand Theft Auto taken in the 80s in a Miami Vice kind of vibe settings. But at this time, it is current days, nowadays, Vice City. Reportedly, the map, Grand Theft Auto, has been a great example since a few gaming generations about what open world can reach and can have in a single game. And Grand Theft Auto 5 marked a new reach. And apparently, the Grand Theft Auto 6 whole map of Vice City will be bigger than twice of the map of Grand Theft Auto 5. So we are looking to a whole complete game, a lot of activities, and a lot of time. Of course, if you count back how much stretch Rockstar Game managed to have with Grand Theft Auto 5, practically crossing 3 generations of gaming: PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X. You can count that Rockstar Game is ready for the next decade with Grand Theft Auto 6. along with the hand of both Grand Theft Auto Online and the Grand Theft Auto Online Plus subscription, which I believe that nobody's pretty much talking about it, pretty much about that subscription. Last time I heard of it, I think I reported it when I was a blogger for the GGS social network for gamers. So I don't, I haven't kept track on how the subscriptions are going, and not interested in looking on the earning reports of Take Two Interactive. Uh, I think that this is a pretty much good days, and it's really different from a year ago when Grand Theft Auto 6 footage and some assets were actually leaked by a hacker that managed to hack the 2K Games mailing list system and managed to also hack into the Rockstar Games servers where most of the work done for Grand Theft Auto 6 was saved for storage. So I think that this is a pretty much different situation from a year ago where Rockstar Game was in high alert and they were actually forced to acknowledge that the leaks were real. People should have to be careful what to publish on the internet, because at the time when X was Twitter, I have like a few DMCAs on some of my tweets that included some photos because, of course, I'm a blogger. I need to have some footage to say that I am not having misinformation, disinformation. I am publishing something that is already public. It has been leaked, and no, I am not the leaker. But yeah, Rockstar Games decided that it was correct to have Twitter DMCA some of my tweets back then in 2022. And by then, there was a tutorial for the camera and some PDF containing description on how the camera should be programmed for the games that was leaked. Of course, and some footage, some setting of the games, and also included some pictures of actual a character, probably Jacob, inside of a store or a nightclub. So you can imagine how Rockstar Games really felt when we are going to finally have our own release of a trailer. It is in our complete control, no leak, no everything, and then bang, the very same trailer got leaked in just the night before. And I thought that the trailer was going to be presented actually on the Games Award. So I think it was really strange to not using the Games Award as a proper platform. In my opinion, they could have go to the safe way to actually use Geoff Keighley's platform to present the trailer and not having this risk, especially with a high demand game filled with intruders on stage. Yeah, with the lame Bill Clinton's jokes. But then again, Rockstar Games decided to run things on their own and try to take the risk, which is something that we cannot take apart from them. Of course, in this kind of situation where you got something high on demand, you want to control the narrative, you want to control all the aspects about what you should expect or what you want to be as an announcement or as an impact to your audience. So maybe that's why Rockstar Games decided to have that risk. And unfortunately, it paid off in some way, but not 100% perfect as Rockstar Games and parent company Take Two Interactive might would have wished. I feel sorry for the developer. I know it's hard to be between your employer and your son, or your children, because I don't know. I don't have the detail if it's a boy or a girl that decided to do that. It's something that I read randomly on the internet, but I'm not surprised. It's not the first time that happens. Children can get curious, especially if you work in the gaming industry and your children are also gaming enthusiasts and fans. This kind of things, as much as you want to avoid, it's really hard to avoid. And unfortunately, not the first time that happens, and evidently it's not going to be the last. And finally, and this is being recorded a few days later after the Game Awards 2023 edition, and supposedly to be the 10th anniversary, the 10th show, and probably Jeff Keighley tried to have a next level on the show. But instead of focusing on the whole event and all the awards that were given, I'm going to focus on, I think, my main three categories because I did nail 2 out of 3 if you listen to the first episode since I took over again Jesus Gaming and Podcast. And it is the best action game, best RPG role playing game, and the game of the year. Obviously, I nailed the first two, best action and best RPG. And I want to start with best action game. And of course, I knew it on my bones that Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon will be the game that will actually wins the whole action category. I mean, historically, Armored Core has been a respected series ever since the game debuted on PlayStation 1 back in the 90s. From Software as the developer, and by then published by the company once called H-Tech, currently now being published by Bandai Namco From Software. As you recall, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon was surprisingly announced a year ago precisely in the 2022 edition of the Game Awards. And while From Software actually did reveal back in 2016 that the Armored Core was in early development, or a new game for a new entry of the Armored Core series was in early development, it was due surprisingly hack by the group named Lapsux. I wrote a lot about them back when I was the blogger at GGS, the gaming social network. That Lapsus actually managed to hack some servers of contractors by Bandai Namco and actually got information that the game was actually in a focus test, which pretty much meant that the game was in advanced development. So it was just a matter of time when Bandai Namco was forced to actually reveal that the game was close to launch. And we're talking about January 2022 versus December 2022 when the Games Award 2022 actually presented that surprising trailer for the game. So I think that Bandai Namco really did a pretty good job on containing all the leaks, and I bought the game. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't played it yet because I'm just like a month old that I bought my PlayStation 5 units, but I'm currently out of storage, so I am waiting for my solid state drive expansion to actually being able to install the game. But I love the mysticity behind Armored Core as a franchise. If you look on eBay or Amazon or any place where you want to buy an original Armored Core game, you will see that the game doesn't go lower than $50 or $60, like if it's a new game. And Armored Core was known to have this mysticity of being a rare game where there are always limited quantities of copies of game being published, being made, and unto this day, not even Armored Core 5, the last entry, and we're talking about the generation of PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and the Wii. Armored Core 5, you cannot find it under the $70 or $60. And I'm just 1 to 2 days since last I checked because I'm trying to actually buy all those games again. I only managed to have the disc of Armored Core 4 for the Xbox 360, and I'm still way to go because not only the main games, but also I have the expansions for all games that are standalone. That's another mysticity of Armored Core. Armored Core, at least probably not now because of the thin line between consoles and PC nowadays, that practically every game can be treated as a PC game where you can update it on the road and you can expand it on DLC on the road. But before that, Armored Core 5 and downwards, all their expansion were standalone. The first game had like two standalone expansion ones. I don't remember the order correctly, but Master of Arena and Project Plasma were the two expansion for the original Armored Core game back for the PlayStation. So yeah, I think that with everything that we have seen and what Armored Core 6 offered, and I haven't seen much negative things about Armored Core. Again, the mysticity. Armored Core never disappointed in my opinion. So we're talking about that as of the recording of this. We got 1.3 million copies on Windows alone being already sold. So yeah, I think that best action game for 2023 was definitely deserving to Armored Core 6. Now let's go to the RPG, and this is another thing that I nailed it when I casted my vote as an episode for the podcast, and it's the best RPG game, which actually is also the game of the year for the Game Awards 2023, and that is Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, as I said in that episode, is the recent video game that really and truly represent on what an RPG role-playing video game should actually feel. Not all this trend that we see with first-person shooter, hack and slash, that you can subtract hit points or life from your enemy numerically. Now that's gonna call it an RPG. I think that what is classical RPG, where your decisions are based on statistics, numbers, and immediate action, Baldur's Gate 3 really nails that in the and I want to say that we truly need to go back to square one on role playing games, in my opinion. Every studio now claims that they have their own role playing game, and I just see that RPG has become like a mixture with hack and slash RPG hybrid, action RPG hybrid, first person shooter hybrid. I think that we truly need to go back to square one with turn based RPGs, or in the sense of Dungeons and Dragons, which, by the way, Baldur's Gate is the best representative of Dungeons and Dragons being brought to video games. So I think that is no question on why Baldur's Gate 3 deserved the best RPG of 2023 in the Game Awards. I don't see how Baldur's Gate 3 could not be the recipient of that award. And taking in context the history of the development, so we got Larian Studios to basically launch the game as early access, and nowadays early access releases and requiring users to pay for them for full price, with the promise that when the stable releases go public, you'll not be charged anymore, and the only setback that you will have, or you have to accept, is that with every progression in updates, probably your save state or your progression in the game might get corrupted and you need to start all over. I got a few friends that actually bought the Stadia version. Remember that the Stadia version came almost alongside with the PC version. So I got a few friends that actually tried the game on Stadia, and the game was pretty much stable as far as you can expect from an early access, where yes, you can expect that there are some errors, you can expect some hiccups, you can expect some issues because it's an early access. Larian Studio back in 2020 didn't have the game completely and 100% guaranteed that it will not fail, and that that was the progress until obviously the lameful fall of Stadia at the end of 2022, and then Larian Studio carry on PC only via Steam and GOG.com. And surprisingly, the game was a massive success, even though the early access was. Some people view that the early access was kind of expensive, but I think that the investment was justified. I think that Larian Studio did deserve to actually have some remunerations while the game is still in development, because they provided you with the full game regardless of this early access, not the stable release. You can complete the game from A to C, from start to finish, regardless. For a little context here, Baldur's Gate 3 is based on the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons tabletop role-playing game. It has been known that the game was announced by as early as 2019, and it was revealed actually during the presentation of Google Stadia back in the Games Developer Conference in 2019, the very first year that actually Stadia got launched on November, or I will say winter on 2019. And since then, it has been like a waiting period and a big risk that actually Larian Studio took, and pretty much the risk took off and was worthy. Golden Joystick Award winners and the Game Award winner, and of course the Game of the Year. I know there's some sentiment that maybe Alan Wake 2 deserved the Game of the Year, but I think that Alan Wake 2 is kind of a niche game. Okay, yeah, if I say it's a niche game, I know that some is gonna say it, but Baldur's Gate 3 also deserves to be a niche game because it is an RPG, and Alan Wake is like a thriller horror game. But again, I think in the context of what the game brought, the story behind the development of the game, the franchise itself, and I'm not taking anything away from Alan Wake 2, but I think that those elements weight more on Baldur's Gate 3 in my opinion. Of course, if the Baldur's Gate 3 or Alan Wake 2 factor, let me call it factor, wasn't the case, probably it would have been between Spider-Man and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And between both of them, I will say that it will be a hard one to choose between Spider-Man and Zelda. I'm not trying to bring negativity in neither games, but Zelda. Yes, Spider-Man was kind of a Marvel Spider-Man 2 was a expected sequel, and differently from God of War Ragnarok last year, I think that Insomniac Games and PlayStation Studio got a little more time ahead to have the game to actually be eligible for GOTY or Game of the Year nomination. But if you look at the hype and everything that transcended during the launch of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, there was a sentiment that back in February 2023 that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was actually a strong runner-up as minimum for the Game of the Year award. Yes, you can say that in a technical standpoint, the game is fascinating. It's a great evolution from the Breath of the Wild, but that is the element that some people question on why Zelda isn't the Game of the Year at all, because it is not a brand new game in a perspective that offers anything new beside the construction mechanics that introduced in Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is basically an evolution from Breath of the Wild, and for those who doesn't know the story, Tears of the Kingdom was announced a few years ago as a sequel from Breath of the Wild, which is not a common thing within the Zelda franchise. All the Legend of Zelda games has their own backstory, and the only game that, or the first game that actually started this kind of a first release, and the second is a lore kind of a sequel, is Ocarina of Time and Majora Mask for the Nintendo 64. So we got the same thing with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but it was not something creatively at 100% justified. It was just a technicality. Tears of the Kingdom actually became a thing because there was so much strong brainstorming on how Nintendo could expand Breath of the Wild and launch so many expansions and DLCs that it became too much and enough for those DLC to have their own kind of story. And that is why we got the Tears of the Kingdom as a direct Breath of the Wild sequel. And I think that's the element that people find it that is actually the weak link on considering the Legend of Zelda as a good proponent for the game of the year. Of course, gaming has always been a really dramatic and a strong feeling kind of thing. You got fans of Baldur's Gate, you got fans of Alan Wake, you got fans of the Legend of Zelda. So without taking any sides, this is how I see things regarding of the Game of the Year selection, winning, and my takes on both the action game and RPG games for the Games Award 2023. I want to say two more things now that I had that behind, and I want to close this triple threat episode. I'm glad that Sega finally step up regarding on what's next for them. And while I have been kind of a critic of nostalgia and remakes as a money leeching thing, I think that I am going to forgive Sega. Sega announced surprisingly on the Game Awards that it was remaking most of their classical games. And for those who, and I have already mentioned my former online job as blogger of GGS, but 2 years ago, it was already reported that Sega was running a super game project, and pretty much the announcement on the Game Awards 2023 is the product of this super game project that was originally reported by Bloomberg back in 2021. It was pretty much bringing classical games like Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, and others to a current generation reboot. And of course, we were all impressed seeing Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, and Sega claims that there are more games to come. So I think that 2024 is a good year to look forward if you're a Sega fan and if you are in a big nostalgia regarding of the Dreamcast and how Sega make a downfall as a hardware and a main competitor between both Nintendo and Sony. So we are pretty much have much to look forward in 2024. And then I think I'm gonna add something about one. I don't get why the Games Award gets always something to get negative about or gets negativity around it. I think Jeff Keighley needs to be careful about mixing Jeff Keighley, the gaming fan, and Jeff Keighley, the entrepreneurship presenter of Gamescom on the Game Awards. Yet again, the Game Awards was kind of in the middle of the haywire target, so to speak. because this year many people kind of notice it, how much less time gamers development and winners recipients were having less screen time than celebrities, marketing, and things that were not necessarily related to gaming. Something that Jeff Keighley actually admitted, and he said that I will be assessing with the team. So I think that we're gonna be seeing some changes on next year's the Games Award. But my question is, why you need to wait to have controversy or let the internet have the opportunity to talk bad things about you, and then you're gonna be reactive? Don't be reactive, be proactive. I think that's one of the things that I have been noticing, as this is my third year seeing the Games Award. Each and every year there's always something to talk about, and there's always the reactiveness. And I think that Jeff Keighley needs to be a little more proactive, uh, because being proactive is what led you to assess any kind of a situation that might arise in the event, and let the internet have much less opportunity to talk bad things about you or about your event. That for years the Game Awards has been questioned on why it has to be the only main gaming event for kind of the Oscar Golden Glove category event, and why people maybe forgot the Golden Joystick Award, which I raised my hand. I said that I was going to cover some of the Golden Joystick Award this year, as this event is actually more, I don't want to say elder. I think it has more seniority than the Game Awards. And yeah, I'll take that L. I didn't cover it. I promise that I will do my best for next year, have both events being covered. But I think that, yes, I know the market, the Game Awards. Let's get real here. The Game Awards needs money as a event that needs to obviously have their own independence, not being attached to any networks, and to continue to be in complete control. Like, we're going to be streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, X, etc. Obviously, they need to have their own funds, and having marketings and world premieres and everything. That those premieres aren't for free. You know what I mean? They aren't for free. They are spot that developers and publisher pays to have their games highlighted. Okay, it's like the Super Bowl or the World Series. The two events where commercials are the most expensive because you are going to captivate more on audience. Is the same thing with the Game Awards. So you need publicity, and the Game Awards is a publicity event. There's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is that the balance goes in favor for the marketing instead for the video game. I think that's the too long don't read thing about it. And I don't know. This is yet another year that Jeff Keighley couldn't avoid any criticism, especially bad criticism. I think that we might be seeing some announcement probably early this year, as Jeff Keighley obviously is going to prepare for the summer of games, as probably there's not going to be an E3 this year. So we have to see what Jeff Keighley has under his sleeve, or if he can finally avoid more negativity and be more proactive instead of reactive. Well, if you have seen this episode via the YouTube podcast, please leave a comment. Tell me what you feel. What do you agree? What do you disagree on everything that I have said regarding Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto 6? What is your take on the whole event of the Game Awards, or the Game Awards 2023? What was your favorite? What you wanted? What surprised you? What didn't surprise you? You can tell me all in the comment. Please hit the like and subscribe for more content on our YouTube channel. And please, if you're listening to the audio only version via Spotify and other podcast networks, thank you for your support. Without anything much less, this is Jesus from Jesus Gaming and Podcast. Have a good one, health and success.